I thought Dynamite this week was a strong show, but it continued the recent rating slide. 672,000 viewers, down from last week's 711,000. That is the lowest audience total for the year, and for any Wednesday airing of the show since June of 2020. Same for the demo. It tied the lowest number for the show in nearly 4 years. Now, they went head-to-head with the NBA and the NHL. And NXT, for example, the night before was also down, 597,000 viewers. Raw's been down also. SmackDown last week notched its lowest audience total of the year, the lowest since December 22nd. So whether it's the post-WrestleMania blues or all the sports competition, wrestling across the board right now has been down. I mean, WWE is still hot, but you look at these wrestling numbers across the board and they've been down lately. And look, I feel it too. You know, as a content creator on YouTube, things are down from where they were a month ago, 6 weeks ago. You can feel it. The problem for AEW is that it could not come at a worse time, given that they are in their negotiation period right now with Warner Brothers Discovery for a new rights deal. WWE already has its deals all locked up. With Netflix, they got Raw. NBC Universal has SmackDown. CW's got NXT. They are locked and loaded. They're all taken care of. They're safe. They already got that guaranteed money. With AEW, nothing is guaranteed right now. This elite angle is not resonating with the audience. You know, they beat up Tony Khan, they beat up Kenny Omega, and it has not meant a damn thing so far. The Young Bucks are not going to move ratings. Jack Perry is sure as hell not going to move ratings. Okada, I'm sorry to say, I love him, but he's not going to move ratings, collectively or individually. So they're going to need a great foil for these guys. I don't know if it's MJF when he returns. You would think not, because they're probably going to put him right back in that whole Undisputed Kingdom thing. I wish they wouldn't, but I'm sure they will. Or it's someone else, just someone who can inject some life into this story to where people want to tune in every week, because that's their big story right now. They've hitched their wagon to this story. Now, look, it's still early yet, but it's been long enough that you would hope to see some kind of traction, and they just keep falling. And there really is no positive way to spin that. You could talk about sports, you could talk about all the competition and this and that. That's true. But you would hope that this angle is holding on to some of those people, and they just keep sliding. You know, now when the playoffs are over, we'll see how much of that audience they gain back, because the numbers will go back up, but by how much? You know, do they go back up to 800,000, 850,000? Or do they settle in at a number much lower than that? Now, on the subject of AEW's media rights, which is one of the biggest wrestling stories of the year, how this plays out, there was a big story this week, courtesy of one Bill Simmons on his podcast, and this has yet to be confirmed by the NBA or anyone else. And it wasn't even so much a story, it was almost like an offhand comment he made that turned into a big story. But according to Simmons on his show, this is what he said: one of the funniest things ever is that we're all pretending that the TV deal wasn't done like a week and a half ago. I think it's done. I think Warner already lost it. And I don't know why we are waiting until after the playoffs. Maybe that's how they have to do it, but it's a wrap. NBC is getting it. I'm just telling you. Now, the NBA has already agreed, reportedly, to deals with Disney and Amazon and Comcast, which is NBC. Looks like they're going to outbid Warner Brothers Discovery for that final package, that third package. Or if Simmons is right, they already have. Not that they're going to, but it may already be a done deal. The question is, what does this mean for AEW? As a wrestling fan, why should you give a shit? As an AEW fan, why do you care? Because this could have a very big effect on AEW, which is in its own contract year right now. What does this mean for the future of the company? What does this mean for the future of its shows? I am of the mind that losing the NBA will only make AEW more valuable and more attractive to Warner Brothers Discovery. And I don't mean more valuable in that they're going to triple or quadruple their media rights fee. They're going to get $1 billion deal. Remember that a year ago, right around this time, people thought the $1 billion deal was going to be announced. I don't know where that started. I'm not even saying that. I mean more valuable in that Warner would be willing to pay more because they don't want to lose all the hours of live content, but they're not going to overpay for AEW. They'll pay more. I think the word on the street was that they were getting $175 million off their current deal. I think they'll get more than that, but they're not going to overpay for them. Now, per Fightful Select, the exclusivity window for AEW and Warner to negotiate, which Tony Khan recently said ended soon, goes into the summer, but it's not known exactly when it ends. So into the summer can mean the end of next month, or it could mean August. We don't know, but an announcement is not likely until later in the summer or sometime in the fall. And they say that Warner has had interest in adding AEW pay-per-views to its Max service for a while now, and every deal the company makes is with Max in mind. I would love for AEW to shift its pay-per-views over to Max, and it would make sense for the rest of the library to end up there too, maybe even ROH. TNT and TBS, they have aired NBA games going all the way back to 1989. Okay, so we're talking 35 years. Losing the NBA would be a huge blow to them, especially when it comes to what they call carriage fees that they charge. Yeah, so right now, Warner gets $3 per subscriber for TNT alone. Okay, just for TNT. If they lose the NBA, they're not going to be able to charge that anymore. That fee is going to go down. And they're also going to lose a ton of ad revenue. But David Zaslav, the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, he's still trying to cut costs. He's trying to erase $43 billion worth of debt that his company still has. I mean, for fuck's sake, they're making movies and putting them on a shelf instead of releasing them just to get a tax write-off on them. So what does he do? Does he overpay and pay twice as much as he wants to for half the number of games that he had before? Does he pay more for less just to keep them, or does he think they can manage without the NBA? It sounds like he's drawing a line in the sand and saying, I'm not going to go beyond this number. He's taking a calculated risk. And it's like I said on TNT Tuesday night, our TNT, not Zaslav's TNT. Can AEW be the beneficiary of that? I hope so. If Tony Khan is banking everything on this great relationship that he says he has, that the two sides have, I hope it does work out for them in the end, because wrestling fans need a healthy second promotion. And that doesn't mean a second wrestling company. You've got plenty of wrestling companies. You've got tons of wrestling companies. I'm talking a second company with national TV and with the resources, i.e. money, to compete for top talent. So I think it's a great opportunity for AEW to slide in there and say, hey, we may not be the NBA, but we can still offer you 5 hours of weekly television, mostly live television, that routinely ranks high up on the cable charts, or at least Dynamite does. I don't know where Collision ranks on the charts each week, but Dynamite is usually up there. It's usually, if there's sports, it's right behind sports for the top show on cable for the night. That's what they can bring to the table. If that's what's important to the network, and people sometimes ask, and they'll even ask me on Twitter, what about these reports of Warner Brothers Discovery supposedly being so happy and pleased with the AEW numbers? How could this be? Year over year, the numbers are down, the numbers are sliding. How could they be happy? Well, look, I'm sure they're not happy the numbers are going backwards, but they have certain metrics that they look at, whether it's the demo, whether it's factor in DVR viewing, I don't know. But they will put out press releases claiming that AEW in a given week got 4 million viewers, and I don't know how they're coming up with this math. I have no idea. Sometimes the math is not mathing for me, but it doesn't matter what I think. If they're happy, that's all that matters. That's all Tony Khan has to worry about. Tony Khan has said that the most important metric he looks at are the TV ratings, because he cannot lose this relationship. If he loses this relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery, they may well end up on another network. I don't know that it would be as strong of a network, and that would be, I don't want to say a death blow, but it would be a big blow to the company. He has said before he relies on that money. If he does not get the price increase, the fee increase that he is looking for, that he is banking on, there are going to have to be a lot of cuts made in AEW. Cuts that Tony Khan once upon a time said, we don't do that here. Well, guess what? You're going to have to. So he needs that money. He needs this relationship to work. And I hope it does. I hope they get the biggest deal they can, because then it'll be good for everybody.